Tomorrow, it will be exactly 1 week since the surgical strikes. So far, there has been just one response from Pakistan: denial, denial, and denial. Even in India, there have been doubting Thomases. Political parties have started a clamour already asking the Modi government to release some proof that the strikes actually happened. Tonight, here on CNN News 18, for the first time, we are getting you proof that these strikes actually took place.
And in case there is any doubt, this proof is coming straight from across the border. A Pakistani police officer, a gazetted senior officer of the rank of Superintendent of Police, who's in charge of intelligence, is making these claims. That big global exclusive coming up over the next 3 hours. We've already gotten you a bit of it starting 6 p.m. The special coverage continues here on CNN News 18. It's a global exclusive. So what exactly do we have for you tonight? We've broken it up since 6 p.m. this evening. Let's get you all the big highlights of the big expose done by our investigations editor Manoj Gupta. CNN News 18 has learnt the following. We've spoken to the Superintendent of Police of the Mirpur range in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, who in that conversation has confirmed damning evidence that is going to be hard to deny by Pakistan. We're going to get you all of that ahead on the show. The Mirpur Superintendent of Police confirms what Pakistan has been denying. Most importantly, he's confirming, and you'll hear this in his own words, that the surgical strikes happened. He then goes on to give us a figure as well. 12 people died in the Indian surgical strikes. This is a police officer in the area, and we're going by that version. It's his official version that he's giving us. Mirpur Superintendent of Police has also confirmed the details of all those killed in the surgical strikes. All those details we will get you over the next couple of hours. The admission is on tape, and this is important as well, that Pakistani army men were also part of the casualties. He then goes on to, in the duration of his conversation, he goes on to use the word terror launch bases for Lashkar camps. What more do you need? And all of this is coming right your way as we'll play out the conversations that we've had. The Superintendent of Police then confirms what India has been saying all along, that the Pakistani army was shielding jihadis. This is in his own words that you will hear in a short while from now. So that's what we have for you. We'll play out those excerpts in just a bit.
बंधु ने जो देखे हैं सर। अच्छा, 12 कॉफिन बॉक्स में हैं। जी सर, मुख्तलिफ जगहों से है सर, ये मुख्तलिफ जगहों से इंफॉर्मेशन है कि एक जगह 2 जा रहे हैं, एक जगह 3 जा रहे हैं सर।
2 hours ago, the Prime Minister of Pakistan, Nawaz Sharif, has told his parliament that it was 2 Pakistanis who were killed in a ceasefire violation on the 29th, and that India fabricated that entire surgical strike story. Part 2 of our investigation is nailing that lie.
So essentially we've covered all the bases with the kind of evidence that is now being provided by way of the SP Ghulam Akbar. Here he is talking about the Pakistani army men, not terrorists, but men in uniform killed in the strike. He even has the names and details of 5 of them, but we've decided to withhold the names he mentioned because of the sensitivities, of course, involved. But listen in to this part of the conversation.
इनके सबके नाम भी हैं इसमें? नहीं सर, नाम तो मुश्किल है, कुछ 1-2 हैं जिनके नाम हैं सर। ये 29 वाली की है ना जिनके नाम? जी सर, 29th वाले सर। हाँ। जी, वो जिसका वो क्लेम कर रहे हैं कि हमने सर्जिकल किया, ये किया है। हाँ। तुम्हारा लैंडलाइन क्या है? जी 05822 कोड है सर, मुजफ्फराबाद का। हाँ। तो 92। अब वैसे आवाज ठीक है सर। ये नंबर नोट हो गया सर? हाँ, नंबर नोट हो गया। मैं कह रहा हूँ अभी पढ़ दें जरा। ये सर वो ला रहा है, पूरी फाइल है सर, उसमें वो देख रहा है कि 29 को जो डिटेल है वो किस किस्म की है, विद नेम। अभी फाइल अभी? जी सर। हाँ बताओ सर। भिंबर जिला है, पंडाला सेक्टर समानी में। यहाँ सर वो एक नाइक जी आवाजदार ये और जो जख्मी है सर ये तो शहीद लाइंस नाइक स्पाइस ये 3 जो हैं ये जख्मी हैं, तो 2 वो शहीद हैं।
ठीक है।
तो इनमें से बाद में इलम ये हुआ कि एक और भी शहीद हो गया है, 3 शहीद हो गए।
क्या ना, कौन शहीद हुआ है?
उसका नाम वेरीफाई नहीं हो रहा सर, तीसरा कौन शहीद हुआ है। इसमें हवलदार और एक मस्जिद शहीद हुई है उधर, ये सर उधर ही है, इस पोस्ट के करीब है।
हाँ ठीक है,
लीपा में। जी सर।
ये सब वो जो तारीख का बता रहे हो ना?
29 का सर। 29
सर्जिकल कह रहे हैं ये लोग।
जी जी, वो जो सर्जिकल कह रहे हैं।
अच्छा ठीक है।
Well, how is Pakistan going to deny this? Here it is, enough and more to establish beyond doubt that what our army is claiming is the truth and nothing but the truth. And Pakistan, here's more.
Well, this is part 3 of our investigation, where SP Ghulam Akbar of Mirpur is confirming what India has been saying all along about the Pakistani army shielding jihadis. These are certainly not non-state actors, as Pakistan has been claiming at every international forum. Listen in.
ये बताओ कि उस दिन जो था कितनी देर चली थी ये स्ट्राइक, सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक?
ये सर वो तो इन बिटवीन ये रात को चली है ना सर, कोई उसकी ये कोई रफली कह सकते हैं 2 या 3 घंटे, मसलन बिटवीन 2 and 4 और 2 to 5 रात को।
उनके कितने लोग थे?
उनके सर कंफर्म नहीं है सर।
उन्होंने एक साथ एक साथ हमारी पोस्ट पर हमला किया है।
ये सर मुख्तलिफ जगहों पर सर, भैया का वक्त तो एक जगह नहीं हुआ ना, ये मुख्तलिफ जगहों पर है सर पोस्टें। जी सर, मुख्तलिफ अजला में है, मुख्तलिफ जगहों पर हैं, तो बस ये जहाँ जहाँ वो करते रहे वहाँ आगे से वो रेजिस्ट होते रहे सर।
नहीं तो तुम्हारे हिसाब से इसमें 12 से टोटल 5 से ज्यादा मरे हैं? जैसे पहले तो बता रहे थे 12 कॉफिन गए थे।
ये सर मुख्तलिफ जगहों से, नॉट एट वन पोस्ट सर।
और जो लोकल रिपोर्ट आ रही है इंटेलिजेंस की, वो क्या बता रहे हैं, कहाँ लेके गए इनको?
बस वो यही बता रहे हैं कि ये गए और उसके बाद इनको एम्बुलेंस में रखकर कहीं आगे पहुंचा दिया गया, आगे उनके घरों को, या जो भी है।
तो इसमें ये भी है कि मतलब कुछ और भी लोग मरे हैं, लोकल मरे हैं, या कोई ये जो
लश्कर? लोकल की कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं, लोकल की सर इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं है, लेकिन देयर कुड बी ए प्रोबेबिलिटी सर कि जो वो जिहादी जो अस्करी हैं उनमें शायद वो। जी सर।
तो जिहादी अस्करी कितने मरे होंगे?
ये सर कोई इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं आ रही किसी तरफ से सर।
लेकिन मेरे लगता है कुछ आर्मी ने जिहादी अस्करियों को छुपाया है।
ये सब वो तो होता है, लेकिन ये बिल्कुल ही कोई पता नहीं चल रहा।
नहीं मतलब थोड़ा बहुत लग रहा है कि उन्होंने कुछ मतलब जिहादी 20-30 जो है छुपा दिए हैं।
जी सर ऐसा ही है, ऐसा लगता है सर, ऐसा ही है। इसी वजह से तो कॉर्डन हुआ है और लोकल्स बता भी नहीं रहे ना।
तो तुम्हारे हिसाब से कितने जिहादी अक्सर इन्होंने दबाए होंगे?
ये सर मुश्किल लगता है तुझसे,
फिर भी मोटा मोटी
लगता है। ये सर रफली हो सकता है, कोई क्रॉसिंग के वाले से मुख्तलिफ जगहों से कोई 5-5, 6-6 यही हो सकता है सर।
हर कैंप में 5-5, 6-6
वो इतना ही क्रॉस करते हैं सर। लॉन्चिंग के लिए सारे भैया के वक्त तो नहीं जाते ना सर। 5, 4, 3 वो इससे कम जाते हैं सर।
तो ये मतलब 4 जगह पे अगर उन्होंने हमला किया है।
जी सर।
तो अगर हर कैंप में लॉन्चिंग में 5-5 बैठे हुए हैं।
जी सर।
तो 20 के आसपास मार दिए।
ये सर ये तो है, लेकिन इट्स डिफिकल्ट टू से एनीथिंग। लेकिन मुमकिन है कि जहाँ जहाँ थे ये उनके लॉन्चिंग वेज थे।
किसके लॉन्चिंग वे थे?
ये हमारे जो हैं अस्करी वगैरह।
कौन से लश्कर के?
लॉन्चिंग। जी सर, हमारे जो भी इस अस्करी हैं।
कौन लेके आता है इनको?
ये सर ये आर्मी वाले ही सर।
अच्छा, आर्मी लेकर के आती है।
ये वही लोग हैं सर, ये उनके खाते में ही है।
चलो ठीक है। तुम कौन हो?
सारा इनका अपना सेटअप।
अच्छा अच्छा।
जी सर, मैं स्पेशल ब्रांच।
क्या नाम?
गुलाम अकबर सर।
क्या हो यहाँ पे?
जी मैं एसपी हूँ सर, एसपी स्पेशल ब्रांच।
ओके ओके, थैंक यू गुलाम।
I'm Ghulam Akbar. I'm the SP of Mirpur Special Branch. That entire conversation is some 22 to 23 minutes, and we've put the entire transcript on our website news18.com. The question is this proof enough to convince Sanjay Nirupam, Digvijay Singh, Arvind Kejriwal and P. Chidambaram that these strikes actually did take place? Is it enough to convince the people of Pakistan that the government and their army has been lying to them all along? G. Parthasarathi is the former Indian High Commissioner to Pakistan. He's joining us in the studio here in Noida. Major General B.K. Sharma is the head, Center for Strategic Studies at US. Joining us from Gurgaon this evening, Nitin Gokhale is a national security analyst and the founder of BharatShakti.in. Mr. Parthasarathi, I'm coming to you first. You've served in Pakistan, and I'm going to talk about doubting Thomases in India a little later on the show. It's absolutely shameful the way they've been questioning the version that the Indian Army has been giving out. But that's in the later part of the show. What I want to ask you is this: what does the proof that we have put out do to Pakistan's denial? And they have denied the surgical strikes at least 100 times till now.
You know, I look at it this way. Firstly, coming to the Congress party, I'm saddened, because yesterday I was very pleased when I heard the Congress president and vice president had said that completely done away with the lunatic talk of Sanjay Nirupam, and said that he does not represent the party. There has been a tradition even during Kargil when the opposition stood side by side, and in this particular case they should know that when they go out like this, they're carrying cameras and satellite, and there is satellite coverage. Now, no government in India can reveal those intelligence details as to precisely how we operate.
All of that evidence, which includes videos, which includes photographs, have now been handed over to the PMO.
Yeah, and the important point is much of it is satellite. Much of it is also ground, the cameras they carry with them. So I think I'm rather saddened that a leading opposition party, once headed by Mahatma Gandhi, should descend to these levels. Right.
But talk to us about Pakistan's denial. Where does it put them? It puts them in a bit of a spot.
Let me put it this way. Pakistan, remember one thing. Raheel Sharif, the arch-villain, has not opened his mouth because he knows what's happened. He sends his spokesman, he gets the politicians to speak. He, the arch-villain, has not spoken. That's right. This is point number one. Point number two, this is standard operating procedure for the Pakistanis. During Kargil, I'll tell you something very interesting which is not revealed so far, and I'm willing to do it now. We taped a conversation between Musharraf in Beijing and his General Aziz, his chief of staff, CDS in Islamabad, in which he more or less even told Aziz there are certain things he shouldn't tell to Nawaz Sharif. We had a special envoy go and deliver that tape to Nawaz. Right. So he knew that the army was not keeping him fully in the picture. Then we went public. So you should allow and the opposition should also realize this is an operational situation. The government has to do what is in the national interest. Right. And this sort of coverage of a patrol like this is going to be all types of intelligence. And we cannot reveal our intelligence capabilities.
Absolutely. And of course, the question that has been raised is that it is going to set a very bad precedent as well. Mr. Parthasarathi, I will come back to you. General Sharma, come in on this. It doesn't get bigger than this, does it, General? This kind of evidence, and we've provided it time and time again, this is coming by way of a senior police officer in Pakistan who's confirming everything down to every possible detail, and all of this has been hidden so far, and it's now out in the open. Can Pakistan continue its denial in the face of this kind of evidence, General?
You see, the cat is out of the bag, and whatever evidence you've been able to gather, I must compliment your channel for doing a wonderful work. And what you hear here is from the horse's mouth. And let me also tell you that he is only confined to areas which are north of Pir Panjal ranges. If today he is giving you a count of about 12 regulars having died, and also a large number of terrorists having died, we would expect a similar figure south of Pir Panjal ranges where these operations were undertaken by the Indian military. So on the whole, I think it's the egg on the face of Pak military establishment who have always been in the denial mode. and they will find ways and means to further negate this evidence that you have produced. But I think they cannot look into the eyes of their own soldier and their own public, who deep down understand the machinations of the Pakistan army and the very historical basis on which they've been in the denial mode, be it all the wars that they fought, and particularly Kargil operations where they disowned their own dead and we had to bury them in a mass, sort of in mass graves. So I think they will still be in a denial mode, and they will do a lot of morphing and orchestration of the evidence, but we should not get deterred by that and get more and more evidence and keep it within the confines of the government rather than making it unnecessarily public, other than something which is being done by a channel like you. And once again, I compliment you for this wonderful work that you've done.
Mr. Parthasarathi, you want to come in?
Yeah, basic point is, the Americans obviously have better surveillance than us. They have told off the Pakistanis and listened to us. They have more or less said what you did is okay. Yesterday, the Vice President of the European Union, which all European countries, has commended us and said you did a great thing. And you have the world saying this, and we have eminent Indians who held very high positions raising these petty queries. Do you bring a petty political quarrel to a matter involving the Indian army operating on foreign soil? After all, in the PMO, I handled the Sri Lankan operations. Many things happen, much of it you never talk about. So, and they should give the benefit to the government as what they release and when. Because, as I said, the world believes us. South Asia, almost every country is supporting us. Arabs are supporting us. Europeans and Americans are supporting us. The Russians have come out strongly.
And we've had a lot of diplomatic success as far as this is concerned. We've managed to corner them. We've managed to isolate them. Nitin,
in my life, 40 years in government, I have never seen an instance, through 3-4 conflicts, I have never seen an instance where the whole world backed India like they
absolutely. And the kind of statements, the kind of words that have been used and the condemnation that has come in is also significant and to take note of. Nitin Gokhale, come in on this specific point. This kind of pressure that has already been built diplomatically, this kind of muscle flexing has had its impact. We've seen the kind of reactions that have come in. Now, in the face of this kind of evidence, what options does Pakistan really have, Nitin?
Well, I'll come to the Pakistani options, but I want to make one point.
Yes.
Commendable work by your channel, but I must say this, that if my DGMO of the Indian Army is saying that they have carried out strikes across the line of control in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir and inflicted considerable damage or substantial damage to the Pakistani terrorist or Pak-based terrorist, I will only believe him. I don't need anybody else's certificate. I don't care what Pakistan says.
This is for the critics, sir. Yes. This is for the critics. Yes.
This is for the critics. So that's the point. But coming back to your question, that how will Pakistan react? Well, he is in a bind. The Pakistani establishment, the deep state, is in a bind. It does not know how to react, because if they accept, if they escalate, then you are accepting that Indian forces, special forces, went across, raided and perhaps killed even their own soldiers. So that's their dilemma. And if they don't, then they have to answer their own public and of course lower their own prestige in the eyes of the Pakistani public.
But
so
Nitin, let me interrupt you here. Given the fact that we've already put out this conversation where the SP of Mirpur is very clearly saying, "Saab 12 log mare hain Pakistani army ke," and he has names of 5 of them. Isn't this very clearly telling the Pakistani public that your government and your army has been lying to you? Isn't this proof enough for them to see?
If your channel is available and is watched in Pakistan, yes. But how many people in Pakistan watch English channels is a question. But I'll leave it at that. Commendable work, as I said. But without even this work being done, the Pakistani public does not really get to know what the Pakistani army does. It's been in their DNA, it's been their history that they have denied and they have misled their own public, starting from 1965 to right down to Kargil in between 1971. So let's not get there. But the point here is the Pakistani army, and especially General Rahil Sharif, who is the chief of the Pakistani army about to retire, is perhaps feeling the heat within the establishment. He does not know how to react. does he take over the country and then take retribution or go for retribution against India, or he just goes into sunset, quietly retire like his predecessor. That must be his dilemma at the moment. But the fact is, the world has supported India, and Pakistan will feel the heat on multiple fronts from India, diplomatically, economically, on water, on trade, and of course isolation in Southeast Asia and in South Asia, in SAARC. So therefore, I think it's advantage India, and India must press on without the chest thumping or being sort of triumphant about it in public. And rightfully, the Prime Minister today has apparently told his ministers that let's not do the chest thumping here, let only the authorized people speak. So that's a very correct approach that the Prime Minister has taken.
And if anyone in Pakistan wants to access this conversation that we have put out on CNN News 18, the entire transcript of that 23-minute conversation is up on our website, news18.com. That's where you need to go. Nitin Gokhale, do stay on with us. General Sharma, do stay on with us. Mr. Parthasarathy, we are coming back to this conversation, slipping into a very quick break for the moment.
Welcome back. We've been getting you excerpts of the conversations we've had with a superintendent of police posted in the Mirpur range in charge of intelligence, Ghulam Akbar, who has revealed all the facts, confirming the fact, most importantly, that the surgical strikes did happen. He's gone on to give more evidence as well, which we've been playing out through the course of our evening. Now, let's get you more details about the locations which came under attack, and also the people who really lost their lives, who were killed in that attack. Mirpur city is what we're looking at as well. This is the area where the SP is in charge of intelligence. We're looking at several districts which essentially form part of the operation by the Indian forces. Bimbar district, Bandala sector, Samhani Tehsil. You heard all these names being mentioned by the superintendent of police in that conversation. There were 3 people killed over here. And again, let's remind all of you, we are deliberately withholding the names because of the sensitivity involved, but we've got those ranks for you, 2 Lance Naiks and a Havaldar as well. Who were injured in this specific area? 2 sepoys. Again, the names have been withheld. This is Bimbar district in that area. Let's take a look at Poonch district, Bhattal sector, the Hazira Tehsil. Again, these are names you will find in that conversation that we had. 2 Havaldars killed over there. The Neelam district, Dudhyal sector. This is an area which is extremely important, which has the Al Hawi bridge as well, where eyewitnesses have actually reported explosions and gunfire as well. Now more evidence, 2 sepoys being injured in this particular area. We're getting you details, exclusive details of the scale of the operation by way of these inputs. Hatiyar Bala district, Lipa sector, Tehsil Kayani, 4 people injured, 2 sepoys, 1 Lance Naik and 1 Havaldar as well. So this essentially gives you a broad sense of the scale of the operation that really had been carried out. Our guests continue to be with us, Nitin Gokhale as well as General Sharma. General Sharma, if I could come to you first, one point that really stood out in that conversation that we had with the superintendent of police, in which he confirmed the presence of jihadis. He actually used that word, and he went on to say, when we cross-questioned him about who brings them there, he said, "Ye sab army wale late hain." Now, beyond this, I mean, it essentially again reiterates everything that India has been saying time and time again, and this is a well-known fact, but it's now been confirmed on television.
General
Sharma, can you hear us?
No, I couldn't. Please repeat.
General Sharma, I was essentially asking you, one part of that conversation which really stands out is the part where the Superintendent of Police says that these are jihadis who in fact were present, who were killed. And when we cross-question him, when we press him on that point, we ask him who brings them here or who's really in charge. He said, "Ye sab army wale hain jo inko laate hain." That again proves the repeated claims that India has made, the allegations that India has made for the first time on television, coming in from a senior official in the Pakistani police.
Yes, I think it's only a vindication of the stand that India has been taking, and that is based on truth and not any figment of imagination. And now one of their own senior officer has said that. And from experience, I can tell you, I have commanded my battalion in Meander region, and we've seen time and over these infiltrations having taken place with the help of Pakistani regulars from their posts and being abetted by Pakistan military and the ISI. And now we are hearing from the SP intelligence, and he is very clearly brought this out that, well, there is a hand of Pakistan military, and I think the world should take note of it. And now we have enough evidence to further build up the diplomatic pressure for declaring Pakistan as a terrorist state and for its diplomatic isolation and even imposing economic sanctions on Pakistan.
Nitin Gokhale, just come in on this. The one question that everyone has been asking in the journalistic community, at least both in North Block and in South Block, is will the government release this evidence that they say that the Indian Army has managed to record? There were UAVs there, we know there were helmet-mounted cameras that were carried by special forces, etc. Given the fact that this morning the Indian Express has carried out again a fabulous investigation where they have spoken to 5 people across the POK to confirm that these strikes actually took place. Now we have 23 minutes of this conversation with the SP of Mirpur, who is very clearly saying that the strikes did take place, and he's giving great details. Do you think there's any chance that the government now needs to release this evidence? Not that I'm suggesting they were planning to. I'm just saying, is the pressure off?
I think my guess is as good as yours, Shreya, because you are more on ground in North Block and South Block, so you would know better than me. But irrespective of the investigation by Indian Express or by your channel, my view has been that the government should not ever release the video or any photographic footage or photographic evidence because the government has its reasons not to do it, and it's for security reasons, and it's also for credibility. If you don't believe your own government, if you don't believe your own army, having said that, you expect, does the world or the critics expect that the Indian Director General of Military Operations of the Indian Army will stand in front of the world media and tell a lie? I think that's something that we have to accept what he has said. And then of course there are issues of security, issues of revealing the way special forces are equipped and the way they operate, the places that they went to,
right.
And also the human intelligence sources that the
right.
Indian Army will have or Indian intelligence agencies will have in Pakistan occupied Kashmir. All of them will be endangered. Why should Indian government release the proof just to satisfy a bunch of critics who have nothing better to do?
Absolutely. Okay, Nitin, hold on for a second. We also are being joined by a guest from Pakistan, Mr. Wasim Badami, who's joining us, senior journalist and anchor with ARY News. Thanks very much, Mr. Badami, for speaking to us here on CNN News 18. We've essentially had a conversation with a superintendent of police, Ghulam Akbar, posted in the Mirpur range, who has confirmed the fact that the surgical strikes took place, and then he goes on to confirm several other details as well. How do you respond to this? And also, is this going to, are we likely to see, Pakistani journalists go ahead and question the forces about the details that are now being proved, that are now coming to light by a senior officer of the Pakistani police?
See, first of all, thank you very much for having me on your show. First of all, if we have to start believing people like this, then I am sure, trust me, we would be having certain evidences like this as well. 2 days back only, we had head of Khalistan Tehreek speaking on our channel, and asking Pakistan for help. So if we just have to, take...
No, Mr.
people like
Wasim
this-
Badami, just clarify this for me. I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you're trying to say. If we are to believe people like this, what people are you talking about? We have spoken to the SP of Mirpur. His conversation is up on our website. We've played it on the channel. Are you saying this SP is no SP of Mirpur? He's someone who's fake, someone who we've fabricated? Is that what you're saying?
No, that was the second part of my argument that you just asked in your question. My other friend asked in your question that shouldn't Pakistani media ask their government or army? Sir, madam, we asked our army responded, and our democracy, trust me, allows us to even raise questions on them. We also criticize them. Our democracy allows us. The army, no anyone else, but DGISPR took the journalists there, they
Yes.
showed the line of control.
Okay,
Why
that
is there
point
no
is
such
taken.
activity
Wasim
from
Badami,
Indian
that
side?
point is taken.
Where were those journalists taken? Sir, where were those journalists taken? To some sanitized area completely different from where the strikes took place. I mean, for heaven's sake, who are you kidding? We weren't born yesterday, sir.
That's very easy. Like if you think that our DGISPR took us to a place where where surgical strikes didn't took place, you are claiming that you did it. Why doesn't your military takes your journalists to the
Okay.
place where it took place or near to that place? or
Okay,
wherever it is possible?
let me just rephrase what I'm asking.
Yeah.
What essentially, let me just ask. And again, we're journalists and we're asking that question. So let's leave the rhetoric for the politicians. But essentially, the question is: here is a gazetted officer of the Pakistani police. Here is a senior officer who's speaking with authority. He's in a position of authority to give out these details. We're not speaking to villagers. We're not speaking to any other person. This is a man in uniform who's in charge of intelligence. His word has to count. Is the simple question that we're asking, sir.
Sir, the answer is even simpler. DGISPR, I consider his word to be more official, to be more credible, to be more strong. So if I take your logic only, that an SP level man is saying this, then I am telling you that a DGISPR is saying this, then who should I believe if I take your logic only? Answer is even simpler.
No, I mean, then in that case, then the authority of the SP is completely undermined, and then I don't understand what he's really in charge of. But Mr. Badami, do stay with us. We just like to play out a portion of that conversation, just so you can listen in to the exact conversation and what exactly was said by the Superintendent of Police, and then we'll come back to this conversation and ask you a couple of other questions. Please listen in to this conversation that we had with the Superintendent of Police.
गुलाम अकबर
जी सर।
आईजी मुश्ताक शुक्रा बोल रहा हूँ
सर
बढ़िया बढ़िया, तुम बताओ क्या हाल है?
सर अल्लाह का बड़ा करो।
और क्या चल रहा है? ये तो बड़ी गर्मी चल रही है यहाँ पे।
सर बॉर्डर में है थोड़ी सी,
हाँ,
लेकिन आज तो पूरा सुबह से लेकर इस वक्त तक तो खामोशी है सर बॉर्डर पर।
हाँ। मैं वो जो सर्जिकल कर रहे हैं,
जो सिचुएशन है वो तो 29 का है सर, सर्जिकल जो कह रहे हैं।
हाँ
जी सर।
तो उसमें
नहीं उसमें उस सर ओनली
है
तीन सर, तीन हमारे।
अच्छा, सिर्फ 3 है?
हाँ जी, वो जो लोकल बंदे हैं ना, वो भी उन्होंने जो डिस्क्लोज किया है ना,
हाँ,
वो उन्होंने जो देखे हैं
हाँ,
वो उस वाले से उन्होंने कहा है सर।
नहीं तो वो तो बता रहे हैं कि वहाँ पर ये इंडिया वाले तो बोल रहे हैं कि जो है करीब 30-40।
हाँ, तो ज्यादा क्लेम कर रहे हैं सर। वो तो कह रहे हैं कि ये हमने हर जगह पर ये जो सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक की है हमें बहुत कामयाबी हुई है, लेकिन ऐसा कोई ऐसी कामयाबी की बात नहीं है सर। वो सिर्फ क्लेम कर रहे हैं सर, ताकि वो क्रिएट हो थोड़ा सा फियर अमॉन्ग्स दी पब्लिक।
हाँ
जी सर।
अच्छा,
हाँ, ऐसा नहीं है सर। ये सारा उन्होंने तो उस दिन तो थ्रू आउट सर ये सारा बॉर्डर पर खोल दिया था ना सर।
हाँ
जी सर।
नहीं, 8 मकाम तक तो कोई नहीं गया वहाँ पर
सर। 8 मकाम से कोई ऐसी बात नहीं हुई, कोई रिपोर्टेड नहीं है, लेकिन ये जो है सर दीपा वहाँ से 2, फिर इसी तरह सर अजीरा वहाँ से भी 2।
हाँ
जी सर।
That entire conversation that nails Pakistan's lie is 23 minutes long. It's also on our website, news18.com. That entire thing is on the website. Gentlemen, before we wrap the show and we are running out of time, quick last comments. I'm starting with my Pakistani guest. Wasim, this is the problem India has with Pakistan. We can keep giving you any sort of evidence. You just are not ready to believe us.
Again, it's a very simple argument to make. I will repeatedly have the same argument. On one hand, you have a call which I don't know is fake or genuine, but I will not go into the details. I will consider it's a genuine call. I am not going into details of it. Should I consider a leaked conversation, assumably leaked conversation of an SP level man, or should I believe in the same argument you are saying that Indian media should believe its army?
All right, you believe what you will believe.
You want me not to believe my army?
Okay, Wasim, you believe what you have to believe. If you want to keep your eyes shut, you can please do that. You believe what you believe. Major General B.K. Sharma and Nitin, quick last comments. General Sharma, first to you.
First of all, we must maintain the national consensus here and not to question our own military, which has done a wonderful job.
Absolutely agreed.
Second thing is we should build up pressure on Pakistan unless it shows absolutely tangible results on clamping against the terrorist infrastructure. Only then and then we should take the next step to sort of have confidence building measures and open dialogue process.
Okay, General Sharma, thank you very much. Nitin, last comments for you. We have to wrap up now.
Well, the comment is, yes, of course, the Jammu and Kashmir situation will have to be monitored. India will have to be on highest alert possible, not just in J&K, but also in the rest of the country, because Pakistan may try something to, sort of retaliate or take revenge for what has happened. And the other thing I want to say, I just want to ask our friend across, maybe he's not online, the media person, that where did the Pakistani ISPR take these journalists, the foreign journalists included, to these places if they say that no strikes took place? So how do they know which locations were there that these journalists needed to be taken? So these are Pakistani tactics that they have done for years together now, more than half a century. Let's not even go there, but let's believe our own army and our own government in what they have done. And congratulate them for a job well done and move on from here. Be alert, be strong, and keep putting pressure on Pakistan.
Right, right. And I'm glad you raised that point, because there have been several contradictions in the Pakistani narrative ever since this took place. Several contradictions, the conflicting claims that are coming out, and with one claim after another, they continue to expose themselves.
You know what they say in Hindi? Ek jhoot छुपाने के लिए 100 झूठ बोलने पड़ते हैं. That is what Pakistan is trying to do.
That's right. And tonight we're getting you the absolute truth here on CNN News 18. Thanks very much, Nitin Gokhale and General Sharma, for being with us here on CNN News 18. It's a story that we'll continue to track, getting you the excerpts, putting it on our website as well, and getting you all the reactions that matter. And once again, stressing on this point, it's evidence that is absolutely undeniable.
And people here in India should stop questioning the Indian army and asking whether these strikes actually took place, and stop this release-proof game that has been going on for the last 48 hours at least, Arun. There. We are wrapping the show with that. Zaka Jacob is joining you at the top of 9 with the same story. Do stay with us. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Good night.